Alright, recording's working, let's go. So, this is like my fourth time recording this segment. I had to scrap all of them because the footage got corrupted. But aside those unfortunate events, this is a really cool video. It's one that I've been teasing for quite a while. First teased it in my 500 subscriber special. It's what Dase2 characters would look like in the real world. Now you might be wondering, well, how is that possible? Well, before I can really begin, I have to explain two things. Number one is that there are more things to collect in Statistic and Epic 2 besides the collectibles. There are a small amount of official Dase2 drawings that are hidden in Dase2. You need to do certain achievements to collect them. They're essentially achievement trophies. So, like, it's something else to do after you've completed all the achievements and stuff. And, one of them being Bushling Man right here, which if you grow all Bushlings, then you get Bushling Man. Second, there's an observation I've made about the Dase2 villagers. If you look at them, you realize they're all around the same height. Well, except for the chef, because that hat does not count as height. Which means, well, if you think about it, and another observation I've made, is that, this is probably around the average height, if they're all this height. But the problem is, well, what do I compare all these people to? I mean, yeah, it's cool, it's the average height, but, like, how tall is the average height? Oh, wait a minute! For the following reasons, I've been using derp this entire video. In the intro of Draw Stickman Epic 2, your friend, well, actually the Stickman, suggests to pick up the blue pencil. And, he actually chats a lot, pick up the blue pencil. However, you have the option to not collect it, and, make him angry. Yeah, like, let's go. Seriously, dude? Seriously, dude? Yeah, after a while, this Stickman, he gets tired of you not drawing anything. So, in place of you drawing the friend, he gives you derp. Derp, well, it could essentially act as a replacement for one of the Stickman. And the thing is, since these are like official Draw Stickman Epic drawings, they have some sort of connection to the real game because they're made by developers. And out of all the Draw Stickman dev team drawings, derp most closely represents what the Stickman would look like. So now, what's next in the video? Well, before I started recording all this, I used a photo editor to create a bunch of photos comparing Derp's height to all the villagers. Now, in my 700 subscriber video, not really a special one, I said that we need algebra to figure out, the heights of these two characters. Well, I wasn't kidding. Have you ever heard of solving for equations? Essentially, what I'm gonna do is However, right before I begin this, I'd like to note that X Recorder does not give you the ability to voice over, so, I don't know what exactly I want to say, so I'm just gonna use text, for the next few, 30 seconds.
height is based on a few factors, but chief among them being the country that you are from and the time period that you were in. And you will see, if I want to, like, get a real-world comparison to how tall they should be, I need to find what country and time period Drastic Man Epic 2 is in, which is really hard. Except, wait a minute. Look to my left. My best guess, my best educated guess. This right here is it's obviously the famous Revolutionary War George Washington River crossing. You see, this painting, in today, it probably isn't as popular as it was back in, well, 1771, 1790, around when the Revolutionary War happened. You see, well, Ink is like a really powerful figure, and for him to, or I don't know, it probably has no gender, for Ink to be interested enough to hang this painting up in his magnificent castle, it probably is around the time, it's probably like a little bit after the Revolutionary War. And also in America, because, like, that time, right after the Revolutionary War, and in America, would this painting have been most popular? So it's also likely, to narrow it down even more. Whoa, okay, slow down there a second, you're talking quite a lot. So a big update after I recorded this scene, I looked up when the Delaware River crossing painting was painted. So basically this scene is supporting all my evidence. Because Dase2 doesn't have that advanced technology, however, I should have actually guessed nearer toward the Industrial Revolution, because there are some machines, in Statistic Epic 2, but something that's much greater of a thing, is that, I checked when the Delaware River crossing is painted. It was actually painted in 1851. Yeah, which means that it is way, way ahead of 1790. Um, yeah, that was... So I needed to say that because, like, ooh, if I tried to guess off of 1790, it would be really bad. But yeah, and also, I really should, again, have guessed more toward the Industrial Revolution because of the machines. Anyway, now I'm gonna cut back to this other part. It's also likely located in one of the 13 colonies because of the country and time period, because, like, America wasn't back then. So there you go! Not only do I have an answer to a real-world comparison, back in 1970, or no, 1790, the American average height was around 5'7". And also, I mean, this is huge for the lore, but, I mean, it's not quite the focus of the video, but, you're welcome. So, the average American height was around 5'7", back in 1790. Which means that what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug this average height into the 103.58 that we found from doing the average heights of the villagers, and then based on the percent of 5'7", will we get all of the characters' heights. So yeah, I'm gonna go back into another slideshow because I don't know exactly what to say here. Alright, so, all my hard work is finally starting to pay off. I have now figured out the heights of not only Stickman, but also all the villagers, and, yeah, Fisherman is really tall. He's, by the looks of it, he's taller than me. So, he's probably not 6'8", but still, it is absolutely amazing how far I've gotten. However, this was only one of 3 topics I was gonna discuss in the video. The next topic is gonna be the second topic, which, well, this was a lot harder to find than the first one. The density of ink. What is it? how much does it weigh? So this one was it's way significantly harder, and also it's a bit less factual than the last one. So for the last for guessing all the heights, I mean, I used some genius strategies. So like I took some givens, I got some real world comparison, and then I started piecing all this stuff together, doing some mad calculations. But for this one, well, okay, this is talking over me. But for this one, well, I don't really have any estimate on on how much ink is supposed to weigh. I mean, like, you can't tell by looking at it on a puddle on the ground. Sure, like, it's sticky. Way to tell. There are a few, like, weighing instruments in Troy Stigman Epic 2. They're the seesaws, and they can be weighed down completely by a pail of water, and the pail of water weighs more than Stickman, but, like, oh, cool! A pail of water weighs more than a rat. Like, yeah, big deal. Typical American measurements. But like, and then there's also, I don't know, like, it's really hard to find the density of ink. However, there's one hope, one solution that I might find. It's not what you'd expect. Well, the solution that I ended up with is actually kinda ridiculous. So I've been looking at all the ink on the ground. But perhaps, what about in the air? Look at this. This stream of ink droplets here. What does it possibly mean? Well, ink droplets. Ink droplets in the air. Have you ever heard of water droplets? Perhaps using ink droplets in the air, and the size of the ink droplets, I could calculate the density of the ink by determining, like, how big the drops were, like, how much the air resistance would impact them because of its density. I mean, I was always thinking that ink was more dense than the average human. However, I still don't really have anything to go off of. But, as you can see, well, these are really big droplets. I mean, for reference, like, rain droplets are really tiny. They're millimeters in diameter. So, I mean, like, the density of ink is actually probably on the high end. But I still don't have anything to prove it. Well, yes, I was actually thinking about the density of ink for, like, months before I started recording this video, because, like, the only reason I started this video was because I got the ideas and wanted to put them into practice. Alright, so the thing that ended up being the saving grace for this video was another YouTube video by Veritasium. It was his video explaining concrete while getting buried in it. And like, what? This is the most random thing ever. Well, seems random to you. But it turns out that in the video, he mentioned that concrete is about 3 times as dense as water. And then it hit me. Concrete, when it falls, it probably is, like, in really big chunks. Just like ink is when it falls as well. So, there you have it. The density of ink is around the density of concrete. That's, like, my best guess. Although, actually, how about I play a video of concrete falling? While we're on the topic of ink, I'd also I'd also like to talk about the height of the goblinks, because I've made some photos comparing their height to derps as well. So yeah. So as you can see, goblinks are like they're actually really short. Yeah. And now for the brute goblins. Now, I've always thought of them, like, ever since I knew about the concept of height, which was like in 2020, I always thought that brute goblins were like really tall, imposing figures above 6 foot. But then when I realized I'm gonna have to compare them to derp, yeah, I changed my mind a little bit. I didn't even think they were 6 feet, but it was also really hard to measure their height because, you see, I can't just stand next to them like the villagers because, well, they attack me and they'll pummel me to death with their Morning Star. So what I had to do is actually I had to get the ice pencil to freeze the, brute goblin in order to get next to them. And what I found was actually the most surprising thing of, like, it was the most surprising thing. They are actually around the same height. Brute goblins are around the same height as derp, which means that they're 5'7". Yeah, or no, 5'5" actually. So yeah, that's a wow. I never thought about that.
All right, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, if I to determine the height of like the most known enemy, like the most iconic enemy of Drustman Epic 2. Well, like other than the ink rats, but like one of the most iconic enemies of Days 2. Yeah, I determined their heights, and I mean like Goblinks 4'3", but it was really surprising that the brute Goblinks were yeah, they were actually around average height. Yeah, they were a lot shorter than I thought they were, and they were certainly not like sex or anything like that. So yeah, that is two topics that I wanted to discuss in this video. However, there is one more, and something that also relates to all the characters. It's what would they sound like? What would their voices be like if they were to speak? So yeah, I mean, like, all the stuff I've said in this video was pretty ludicrous, but I found ways to prove it. And to be honest, this one is actually the easiest of all to prove. I mean, like, and it's also it's also, like, probably the most fun out of all of them. So you see, most of the characters, including ink creatures, have a few voice lines around the game, and like, well, goblins can be like, "Ah," when they notice you. They have attack noises, death noises, and if I look at all these clips around the game, I can then like piece it together and have an estimate to what their voices would sound like. So yeah, I mean, this was really the easiest of them all because there isn't really any math calculations involved. So yeah, I'm just gonna start showing clips of gobbling sounds, and also I'm actually gonna show clips of Stickman sounds because that's a voice that I also want to do in this video. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the music volume off so that you can hear the actual sounds better. So here's the goblin snoring. Okay, now here's the sound of the goblins waking up. And you also heard the sound of the goblins noticing you. They're like angry. They're angering. I don't know. Then here is them attacking you. Also the sound of Stickman hurting. They make kind of like and hash sounds. Yeah, so, and then here are the goblins getting hurt. And the goblin death sound. Skipping this cutscene. And here are a few of Stickman's voice lines.
So I'm now gonna proceed to voice the Goblink and Stickman, or one of the Goblins and Stickman. Hold on, I need to.
Say, I'm pretty impressed with this Stickman. I mean, he's shredded through all our bosses, all our big guys, like. I don't know. He's just shredded through all of them. Well, I mean, yeah, he's pretty capable, not gonna lie. And, I don't know, I guess he's this willing to do this because of, I mean, all the trauma he's gone through in his childhood. It was locked up by Zump, you know? Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
What? You sound like Mickey Mouse.
My mistake. I actually, in Draws Manabek 2, I actually don't sound like Mickey Mouse, but, I mean, my voice acting has its limits, so...
Well, what? Are we supposed to be, like, enemies?
Oh, yeah, and, you serve under ink, so, like, yeah, I have no mercy for you. Bro, your wooden sword!
You think you can kill me with one stab? You know this is real life.
So also I'm gonna want to voice the Brute Goblink. Now, they don't actually have any voice lines, they're just silent when fighting anyone. I mean, I guess that proves how efficient they are and how trained. But, well, I mean, Brute Goblinks are essentially just like bigger Goblinks. So really, they're just gonna be Goblinks with a deeper voice. So now I'm gonna voice a conversation. I'm gonna voice an interview between me and a Brute Goblink. So, I'm kind of interested about your biology. I'm like, how do you work on a daily basis?
Well, even on an average training day, I only consume around 1,100 calories due to lack of muscles and internal organs. Yeah, it's really, it's not that many calories, and we're really good soldiers and campers because of our traits. And also, we're pretty cold resistant because we have super high mass, and our body temperature tends to be like 120 degrees or above, so we're really fit for the cold.
Yeah, and, you're really good at sword fighting. Well, I mean, probably not as good as me, but, like, you're much better than Ink or the Goblinks, regular ones. How do you get this good?
Well, it's a really sad story. It's a really sad one. You see, the ink creatures, a lot of them are just manufactured. I mean, if you look at the ink mine, you'll see that they're just produced like products and factory items. The goblinks. Not many people realize that, but they're essentially just children. I'm good at sword fighting because I've lived over a year old. I mean, I'm lucky. And because of that, I've been able to train in sword fighting. But one of my biggest advantages is that I have no fear or hesitation. Oh, the goblins, the regular ones, they attack so slowly. But I have some common sense, and I swing really rapidly. But also, it's been some factors of empathy that have drove me to be this good. They're children, armed with wooden tools. They're trying to fight against Stickman, who... Not many people think of it, but he is an effective killer. I can't just have these children being slaughtered under the name of Ink. I had to get good. Me, in my physically advantageous position. I had to get good, train, and I had to give up my sense of self-preservation. Because I know every day putting my life on the line, those children are gonna spend one less day fighting, and they're gonna have just a little bit more chance to grow up and be like me. I also have to set an example as a role model, being a more physically
gifted ink creature. It's also out of rage. I gotta be evil. I gotta be evil for a reason. It's because if I don't fight, all the humans, other people will. It's hard to understand, but someone as intelligent as you probably could.
I mean, yeah, it's a harsh reality, but like, goblins probably have a life expectancy of months. And Ink before the DLC, his brain is most likely a bottomless pit because he thinks that 9 untrained babies are capable of holding 5 fully grown adults who each have their profession, probably graduated from college and know how to use tools, and also stickman. Like, good luck. Ink is really like just dumb. I can't even describe it. But yeah, speaking of Ink, if you made it this far, thank you. And I'm gonna have a bonus section at the end of this video. It's gonna be, well, in Draw Stickman Epic 2, at the final fight of the DLC, Ink makes exact copies of Draw Stickman, or not Draw Stickman, Stickman, Bob, so his friends, and I mean, the mimics are literally just like Stickman, except 3 times as heavy. Although, I mean, maybe not exactly, because bones could have a density of over 1 gram per centimeter, but like, you get the gist. And I think Stickman is actually a lot stronger than we all realize. I'm gonna I'm just gonna explain how tough a mimic would be to take down. So this is a different universe from Stickman. However, it abides by like the same laws of physics, and also it proves my point and like explains my thoughts really nicely. This is episode 5 of the Stickverse, and it's that one scene. It is that it's a one scene. Here you go. Stickman, Jacob, Zerb's brother. Yeah, and then there's this creep who has no idea what humans are supposed to act like. He's a twitching red flag. Hold the flashlight. Yeah, 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 they just... he knows. And then, yeah, so it's Ink. It's 3 times as dense as Stickman. Yeah, he screams. I mean, he has the right to, and he stabs him in the face. But the problem is, well, them being 3 times as dense, it'd actually be incredibly hard to put swords in them, because, like, you need so much energy. And then, yeah, it's copyright-free Bob. And I mean, yeah, they'd totally be able to knock any of the stickmen off their feet, because in the main game, they're actually fast. The mimics are faster than Stickman, and they're able to close the distance. So they move at the same speed, 3 times as heavy, you guessed it. Knock them off the feet, and then, like, boom, just, oh, and, yeah, no, just instantly gets back up. There's nothing you can do, really. Well, not much. And Jacob's just, like, he's scared. Yep. And they're just gonna attack you, because they're pure evil. Yeah, use the flashlight, Jacob. Just, yeah, here they are, the 3 times as heavy. It's like, and also, something that's even worse is that they are 3 times as heavy, but can move at slightly faster speeds, which suggests that they're gonna be able to punch at the same or higher speeds than them. So, in reality, these poor suckers could be knocked out by a few punches from these things. And in the main game, in the real game, in Drawn Below, yeah, they have one of the highest DPSs of anything, so yeah, lines up, exactly. Yeah, I mean, sure, they have no bones, at least I think, I hope. And I also, they're just made out of liquid, but it's so dense that, like, there's gonna be no deformation after being hit in the head. So, they are one of the most... They're just something to fear. But yet, in Drastic Man Epic 2, in the real game,